Most people think that if you don't enjoy having guests over, something must be wrong with you, that you're antisocial, cold, or secretly bitter toward others. But what if the opposite is true? What if not liking guests is actually a sign of something deeper, something psychological, intentional, and surprisingly healthy? Today we're going to dismantle one of the most misunderstood social assumptions, that loving people automatically means loving hosting them. By the end of this video, you may realize that your discomfort with guests isn't a flaw at all. It's a boundary your mind carefully designed to protect something valuable. From a young age, we're taught that opening your home equals being kind, warm, and emotionally mature. Movies, family traditions, and social pressure reinforce the idea that a good person always welcomes guests with a smile, food, and endless patience. Refusing guests, or even feeling drained by them, is quietly labeled as rude, selfish, or socially broken. But psychology tells a very different story. Social behavior isn't one size fits all. What energizes one nervous system can exhaust another. And when society forces a single definition of normal, it ends up shaming perfectly healthy people for listening to their own minds. Psychologically, your home is more than walls and furniture. It's a mental extension of your identity. It's where your brain relaxes its defenses, where your nervous system finally feels safe enough to power down. When guests enter that space, even people you like, your mind switches modes. You're no longer fully resting. You're monitoring tone, behavior, cleanliness, conversation flow. That constant low-level awareness is invisible to others, but deeply felt by you. Not everyone experiences this shift equally. For some, it's stimulating. For others, it's draining. Disliking guests often means your brain values internal calm over external performance. Here's an important distinction most people miss. Being antisocial is not the same as being selectively social. Antisocial behavior involves disregard for others. Selective social behavior involves discernment. Many people who dislike guests actually care deeply about relationships. They just prefer them in environments where they can control their energy. Coffee shops, walks, one-on-one conversations, or short meetups feel manageable. Hosting, however, removes the exit button. The social interaction doesn't end when your energy does. That's not avoidance, that's self-awareness. Hosting guests requires invisible labor, emotional labor. You're expected to be attentive, accommodating, and emotionally available. You manage food, seating, conversation, and comfort, all while suppressing your own need to withdraw. For people with high empathy or heightened sensitivity, this is exhausting. Your brain is constantly scanning. Are they bored? Are they comfortable? Did I say something wrong? When someone says they don't like guests, what they're often saying is, I don't like being responsible for everyone else's emotional experience in my safest space. This isn't just about introversion. Plenty of introverts enjoy hosting, and plenty of extroverts secretly dread it. The real factor is how your nervous system handles prolonged social exposure without control. Some people recharge through connection. Others recharge through solitude and predictability. If your mind restores itself through quiet routines, guests disrupt that rhythm. And when your recovery system is interrupted too often, burnout follows. Avoiding guests isn't antisocial, it's preventative maintenance. One reason guests feel uncomfortable for some people is unpredictability. When someone enters your home, they bring unknown variables: timing, noise, emotional energy, expectations. If your brain is wired to value structure and control, these unknowns trigger subtle stress responses. This is especially true for people who grew up in chaotic environments. Your adult mind learns that control equals safety, so when guests disrupt that control, your body reacts, even if your logic says everything is fine. The guilt you feel for not liking guests doesn't come from psychology, it comes from social conditioning. You were taught that discomfort means deficiency, that needing space equals rejection. But guilt is not proof of wrongdoing, it's often proof of misaligned expectations. You're comparing your internal reality to someone else's external standard. And every time you force yourself to host out of guilt, your mind learns that your boundaries don't matter. Over time, that creates resentment, not connection. Not liking guests does not mean you want to be isolated. Privacy is intentional. Isolation is involuntary. People who value privacy often have rich internal worlds, strong routines, and deep self-connection. They don't avoid people, they avoid overstimulation. When privacy is respected, they show up more fully in relationships. When it's violated, they withdraw. The problem isn't social contact, it's social intrusion. If you're someone who notices details, tone shifts, facial expressions, pauses in conversation, hosting is mentally intense. Your brain processes more data than most people realize. While others relax into the moment, you're unconsciously managing the room. This is common among highly observant and emotionally intelligent individuals. Your dislike of guests isn't emotional weakness, it's cognitive overload. Society praises visibility, loudness, constant interaction. Quiet boundaries confuse people. When you don't perform hospitality the way others expect, they assume negativity. But psychology doesn't reward performance, it rewards sustainability. The most emotionally stable people are often the ones who know when to step back. They don't burn themselves out to prove kindness. They express care in ways that don't require self-betrayal. Studies in psychology repeatedly show that people with higher self-awareness and emotional regulation are more selective with their energy. They understand that not every social opportunity deserves access to their inner space. Your home represents your inner world. Protecting it isn't antisocial, it's intelligent filtering. You're not rejecting people, you're prioritizing mental clarity. One of the most toxic beliefs around hosting is the idea that if someone truly matters, you should make space for them no matter how uncomfortable it feels. But real connection doesn't require self-sacrifice. In fact, forced hospitality often damages relationships. When you host out of obligation, your body resents it, even if your words are polite. Authentic relationships survive boundaries. Fragile ones demand access. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me for not liking guests?" ask a better question. What does my mind need to feel safe and balanced? When you answer that honestly, the guilt begins to fade. You realize that your preferences are signals, not flaws. And when you respect those signals, your social life actually improves because you show up when you truly want to, not when you feel pressured. You don't owe anyone a psychological essay to justify your boundaries. A simple, calm explanation is enough. I recharge better with quiet time, or I prefer meeting outside my home. The right people will understand, the wrong people will push, and that reaction tells you everything you need to know. Not liking guests doesn't make you antisocial, it makes you self-aware in a world that confuses access with intimacy. Your home is your reset button, not a public stage. And the more you honor that truth, the healthier your mind becomes. If this video put words to something you've always felt but never knew how to explain, then your instincts were right all along.